Good afternoon, and welcome to a special hearing of the Small and Minority Business Development Committee, and I'd like to call this hearing to order. My name is Shannon Hardin, chair of this committee. We are being hosted today by the Greater Columbus Convention Center in the Short North Special Improvement District. I'd like to thank Mr. Don Brown, who's here, for being such a gracious host to us and allow us to use his facilities. And special thanks to Betsy Pandora for finding this location inside of a CID. And that was really important to me that we actually got to come out and have this conversation and let folks ask questions out and get the feel of what we're talking about. Before we begin today, today's hearing is being recorded by CTV, the City of Columbus's government television channel, and will be broadcast later today and throughout the weekend. Additionally, the rebroadcast schedule is available at www.columbus.gov. The subject of today's hearing is special improvement districts, in particular the Capital Crossroads CID, the Morse Road CID, and the Short North CID, all of which are up for renewal this year. We will hear testimony on those districts' plans for services in the future and generally on the value of special improvement districts throughout our city. With us this morning, we have Mr. Cleve Ricksecker, the Executive Director of the Capital Crossroads CID, Dave Wakeman, the Property Manager of the Morse Road CID, and my friend Mark Wood, Vice President of Woods Company?
President of the Wood Companies, yes.
President of the Wood Company. I apologize for that.
Vice President of the Short North Special Improvement District.
Well, that's where the Vice President came in.
Board of Directors, yes.
Thank you so much for being here. And thank all of you for being here on your lunch break. Like I said, our committee hearings, we're taking them out into the community. We want to make sure that we make it as easy as for folks to get to the hearings and bring these hearings out to neighborhoods, to communities all around. This is our third hearing that we've done such. We did a small business hearing in on Long Street at a small business, a coffee shop. Did another at the Women's Incubator at the ECDI. So this is the third of such series. Special improvement districts are areas that can be established by property owners within a defined area that provide services above and beyond what the City of Columbus provides as basic services, paid for by special assessments on those properties. Those services may vary from beautification, ambassador services to work with the homeless, or even visitor services. With that, I'd like to ask Mr. Cleve Ricksecker to offer comments on CIDs in general and on the great work of the Capital Crossroads Special Improvement District.
Good. Yeah, happy to do it. I want to thank a couple of my trustees who are here, Mark Stonebreaker from Capital Square Limited and Mark Lundeen from the City of Columbus are two of the Capital Crossroads CID board members, and thank Don as well, one of my favorite people. And thank you for having this hearing as well. So a little background on special improvement districts. You know, American cities have been, largely in decline now for 70 years, really since World War II. And there are many reasons why cities, urban centers have struggled over time. One of the reasons is that as new developments have taken place outside the urban core, they are generally large developments where a single property owner controls, lots of property, lots of commercial tenants, maybe has a mixed-use project like Easton. And because there's one property owner, that person can not only charge rent, but have common lease terms for all the tenants and require the tenants to pay for security and landscaping and marketing and a whole host of other services that oftentimes are more than the base rent. Well, in an urban area, and this is a picture of what is essentially downtown, in this area that you're looking at on this slide, there are probably 1,000 property owners. How in heaven's name could that group of people ever do anything collectively to advance the area without some sort of mandatory mechanism that would require everybody to pay into a fund so that they could collaborate together to provide whatever those services are, security or cleaning or marketing or whatever they might be. And so in 1994, the Ohio legislature passed a statute that enabled cities to levy an assessment if private property owners requested the city to levy an assessment. And once a petition drive is done, and in the case of Ohio, in order to create a special improvement district, you need property owners representing at least 60% of the front feet along streets, alleys, and other public rights of way, or owners representing 75% of the real property in any contiguous area. So you could create a CID in 1 square block or 100 square miles in theory, but you have to get owners representing at least that much property to sign a petition. The other interesting thing is that support is measured by the percentage of property, and so you don't need a majority of the owners to sign. You need a 60 or 75% of the property represented in those people who are submitting petitions. And that's really important because in any neighborhood, you'll have oftentimes a minority of property owners who are active and really wanting to advance the interests of that neighborhood. And this law really allows them to make some decisions and set an agenda and bring everybody else along. Once owners representing at least 60% of the front feet or 75% of the real property submit their petitions to their local city council or township trustee, as the case may be, that body then will vote to set the boundaries. Once those boundaries are set, every private property owner within those boundaries is required to pay toward whatever the program is that the owners who have submitted the petitions have asked to execute and pay for through an assessment. And it's a mandatory payment. So the state law allows for the CID to actually foreclose on property at a sheriff's auction if a property owner doesn't pay. Now, what happens with all the CIDs in Columbus, and I believe all the CIDs but one in Ohio, is that the CIDs ask their county auditor to place the assessments on the property tax bills as a line item that says special assessment. And that's a beautiful collection mechanism for special improvement districts, because the county treasurer in Franklin County and other counties as well won't accept property tax payments unless the special improvement assessment is included. And so if somebody wants to pick a fight with a CID, they have to pick a fight through the county treasurer. It's in my experience in 16 years, there's never been any non-payment, even in bankruptcy. Guess who the first people are who receive settlement when somebody is put through bankruptcy? It's a taxing authority. And so it's 100% collection method, and it allows those people who want to advance a neighborhood to focus on their program and not constantly chase people for money. The only properties that are exempt, or property owners that are exempt, are government property owners. And they can all participate in different ways under the state law. And the others is churches. And generally speaking, CIDs have requested that the government property owners participate. And the city of Columbus has been very supportive of CIDs. Probably of all the cities in the state of Ohio, Columbus has been most supportive of special improvement districts. Generally, the city's policy is that it will opt its property in to be treated as private property. But I don't think any CID has gone after any church payments, because it's like, squeezing blood out of a turnip. The odds of getting all the churches to participate is pretty slim. But government property owners generally are asked to participate in these special improvement districts. Features of a CID. There's a plan for services that is included with a petition drive. That plan for services and improvements describes all the responsibilities, the amount to be assessed, the assessment formula, and the length of the assessment. And these all have automatic termination dates. So they all die a natural death, and only if property owners re-petition to continue levying an assessment do the CIDs continue past that termination point. And that's really important because it forces a certain amount of accountability. And every so many years, the property owners who run the CIDs have to go back out to all the properties and say, what do you think? Is this working for you or not? And if it's working for you, is this the right collection of services for this area? A CID is run by a nonprofit corporation with a board of trustees comprised of property owners, at least 4, and at least 1 representative of the city of Columbus for the CIDs that are located in the city. Under Ohio law, CIDs may provide really any services or improvements that the owners identify are important. I always like to say, if the owners of Capital Crossroads CID wanted to hire the Rockettes to dance at the corner of Broad and High every single day for 5 years, they could do that if the owners put that into a petition and City Council approved it. And you know, I will say that Mark Stonebreaker has pushed for this in our plan for services, but it's not gotten very far. So anything that owners want to do under Ohio law, they can do, but they have to specify that by petition. So Capital Crossroads said, this is our 4th renewal. We created the corporation in 2000, began operating with assessments in 2002. And the CID has really some 4 basic elements to its plan for services. The first is a safety program. It has specialty police officers on call who do strict enforcement. We have our own ambassadors. They're unarmed. They don't have powers of arrest, but they're very good at calming situations, at helping pedestrians and motorists in the street, and then calling them in the police when police response is required. We have about to have 2 full-time outreach specialists whose job it is to connect people on the streets to services and get them off the streets. We also have a very, very good system that we connect all the private security operations in downtown with the Division of Police and the CID. There are about 60 security operations that are connected by a common radio channel and a security website that really do a great job of tracking crime in downtown. You know, if you're going to commit a crime, don't do it downtown, because you know, we have all of our security people watch as somebody walks through downtown after committing a crime, and typically we'll have a police cruiser waiting at the end of a block to make an arrest. It's a terrible place to commit a crime. Don't do it downtown. We also have a cleaning program. We do litter control, graffiti control, weed control, wash the sidewalks on a regular basis. A capital improvements program, the sign system downtown. We worked with the City of Columbus to do the sign system, bike parking in downtown. We rebuilt Nationwide Boulevard, put big planters on Capitol Square, and then we have flowers up and down High Street during the summer as well. And then finally, we run the Pearl Market. We operate downtowncolumbus.com, have newsletters, do some community building in downtown, and also produce twice a year an economic development report. We sort of track and document what's happening in downtown from an economic development standpoint. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Morris Road.
Okay. Well, real
sorry.
quick, I have a question, Rick.
Sure.
First, I want to add to Rick's statement: don't commit crime anywhere in Columbus. But Cleve, you are the expert on CIDs, the go-to person. You guys have done some neat things with Capital Crossroads. I also chair the Transportation Committee on Council. Would you talk a little bit about your bus pass pilot
Sure.
that you just
Thank you. I'm happy to. The downtown has a parking issue. It's not the only area that has a parking issue. Short North's got its own share of parking problems. And in downtown, it's pretty significant. We are, in order to have full occupancy in our office towers, commercial buildings in downtown, we would need another 3,500 to 4,000 parking spaces. And as a result, we've got a chronic office vacancy rate, which is, it's masked a little bit. For downtown as a whole, we have about a 12% vacancy rate. But in the core of downtown, really from Rich Street north, that vacancy rate is much higher. And we don't know what that is, but it's probably in the 15 to 20% range, and it's increasing. Rents have fallen over the last 30 years. We have reports from hotels that it's very difficult to hold on to staff, because hotels will hire somebody, they'll train somebody, and that person will get a job in a suburban property where the parking's free, and they don't have to pay for either bus service or parking. And then finally, we have some major corporations that would like to move more employees downtown. They can't figure out where to put the cars. So we know that more parking is part of what needs to happen, clearly. But we also know that we're not going to build 4,000 to 6,000 new parking spaces. And so if we really want to have full occupancy in downtown, and we want to encourage companies to bring more employees down, we need to look at alternatives. And so we got funding from the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission and did a pilot program with 844 employees at 4 different companies: a division of Huntington, Porter Wright Morse and Arthur, Bricker and Eckler, and a division of State Auto on South 3rd Street. And we picked employers because they all have different policies. So State Auto gives away parking, for example, but not no transit benefits. So obviously there are almost no one is taking the bus there. But then we had Broad and High, a situation where employees pay for parking, and parking's tight and expensive. So we wanted to get a really true indication of what would happen if we provided free employee transit service for all 53,000 employees in an area that we were looking at the time. And we had a 5.8% shift from driving to transit. In other words, people who had a choice between paying for parking or getting free transit, many of them decided, well, hell, I'll figure out how to take the bus. And 5.8% doesn't sound like much, but if you took that to scale with 53,000 people, that would open up 2,800 parking spaces. It's 4 parking garages. And so based on that, we are having conversations in downtown about whether the owners would want to build this into a plan for services and provide literally every single employee who wanted to have free access to transit services. And our switch was in 3 months. There's Boulder, Colorado's had this program since the 1990s, and they've gone from under 5% of their workforce in downtown taking the bus to 22% now. There are so many people taking the bus that they are actually doing transit-oriented development around bus lines, which is almost unheard of in the United States. So it's a very innovative approach to solving a problem that can't be solved otherwise.
Well, I think it's really innovative. It's something that I'm certainly interested in learning more about. And again, as chair of the Transportation Committee, it's also about changing how folks really use and view public transportation,
right.
To make sure that it becomes part of everyone's lives. And I think that just shows the value of the CIDs, that you guys can take the lead on that, and the employers see the value in that. So thank you, Rick.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I just want to, if folks are interested in asking questions, we have speaker slips. My aide, Edward Johnson, is in the back if you'd like to. We'll take speakers at the end of all the presentations, but I want to make sure you have that option as well. Next up, I'd like to ask Mr. Dave Wakeman to present. Mr. Wakeman is here on behalf of the Morse Road CID, which is a unique district along Morse Road that was implemented as the Northland area began to experience an economic decline in the late 2000s, and since then has played an instrumental part in maintaining and really reviving that corridor. You can see it, you can feel it all up Morse Road. So thank you, sir, and with that I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. I'm Dave Wakeman. I'm the property manager for the Morse Road CID, representing the board of directors. In 2006, the Morse Road property owners formed Morse Road Special Improvement District. It coincided with major street improvements and sidewalk installation with support of city official. During the 10 years, the board has been responsible for maintaining the streetscape, which includes landscape maintenance, seasonal banners, the bike lane, street sweeping, and trash removal. The CID has also accepted the responsibility to maintain I-71 interchange landscape, which included removing the homeless that set up camp at this location, and it has benefited the whole Northland community. Morse Road CID has been successful in attracting businesses such as Menards with new businesses in the Northland Mall redevelopment parcel, and existing local businesses financially investing in improving their properties, such as Krieger Ford and Caldwell Chrysler. Kroger is currently expanding and relocating its store on Morse Road. So you can see in the past 10 years, the Morse Road CID has been successful in not only revitalizing the streetscape, but been successful in new real estate development, investments on private properties that continue to attract new businesses and patrons to the Morse Road corridor. We hope that we will continue to have all of your support on the Morse Road CID and all that the Board of Directors do for the Special Improvement District.
Thank you, Mr. Wakeman. The Morse Road CID is really interesting and neat. One, because you see the value in the infrastructure improvements that happen. And one of the questions that I always get, again, as chair of the Transportation Committee of Public Service, is the 161 corridor has the medians, but without a CID, we mow our center medians 4 times a year, when I think you guys
We're doing 28 times we maintain each week. So,
and so I mean the value is there. It's getting
Correct.
the folks, as Cleve said, to come together as business owners and do a real assessment on themselves. But I think you've seen that area come back
And it's been revitalized because of all the maintenance
Yeah.
and what the frequency of everything that's being done there.
Are there? I know we have some programs, but facade programs. When you drive down Morse Road, one of the cool things I think about that area in terms of small business are the diversity of those small businesses. So you have a lot of restaurants from African communities, from Mexican communities. How are they playing into the
We have
life of the CID?
when we once a year we send out a newsletter to all business owners in the community, and there's over 150 on that corridor from Indianola to Cleveland. And during that time, we invite them to our annual meeting.
Okay.
And so we recruit a lot of them to be involved in the board of directors, and we have a new election. And so we have a lot of the business owners are part of our board of directors. And so then they get involved and they bring other businesses and talk about this to other communities in Columbus. So.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Lastly, but certainly not least, is, like I said, my friend, Mr. Mark Woods, Vice President of the Short North Special Improvement Board of Directors. The Short North CID is one of our most visible CIDs because of the unique way it is implemented, which I'll let Mr. Woods speak about and talk with that.
Thank you, Councilmember Hardin. My dad was one of the founders of the Short North Special Improvement District back in 2000. The original formation of the CID was largely focused on the creation of the arches that now span High Street, and there was limited services that were provided along with the kind of that big capital project that took place with the arches. Back in 2012, we renewed the CID for another 5-year period and added services to the CID at that time. The CID has done so much for the neighborhood, and I'm excited for all of the continued work that will come with the second renewal in 2017. Partnering with the City of Columbus to install and maintain arches is one of the major accomplishments of the CID. But there's also pocket parks that have been developed along the High Street corridor, leading the development of 3 sculptures and many contemporary public art projects along the High Street corridor have been a result of the Short North CID. Collaboration with the Downtown CID and the Columbus Foundation to install and maintain wayfinding kiosks along the High Street corridor is another special project that's been accomplished. The CID has invested thousands of dollars and hours in removing trash, graffiti, and litter from High Street in order to preserve a safe environment and clean environment for the district. It's provided a team of safety ambassadors who have collaborated with police and have contributed to reducing the overall occurrence of safety instances by 25% in 2014. Additionally, the CID's work and improvements to the commercial environment have contributed huge economic growth to the district. Along the High Street corridor, there's been an increase in businesses of 120% in the last 13 years. 95% of those businesses are both locally owned and small, having 50 employees or less. The CID has helped to attract over $700 million in private investment in the Short North Arts District since 2000, with at least $300 million in private investment planned for the next 5 years, if not more. And that does not take into account investments being made off of High Street outside the CID boundaries that have taken place because of the success of the High Street corridor and the impact that the CID has played in allowing that growth to happen. During the second half of 2015, we circulated a petition for the renewal of the CID. Overwhelmingly, the property owners supported the renewal. Almost 72% of property owners returned signed petitions supporting the CID. Our 2017 to 2021 plan of services will provide an enhanced level of services for the district without increasing rates to the property owners. As we've had development, we've been able to spread that cost out more as we've increased square footages within the district that are paying into the CID. The boundary of the Short North CID extends from King to Ohio Center Way to the north and south, and one alley east and west of High Street. With the renewal, we will make slight modifications to our boundaries to include the new convention center parking garage, but will provide service to the same core area for the next 5 years. Again, we really value the impact of the CID on our community and think it's a great model for other neighborhoods throughout the city.
Thank you, Mark, and
Sure.
I certainly agree with that. I now going to open it up for speakers. Right now, we have one speaker slip in front of us, Mr. Herb Tallerbeer. I would ask you to approach the mic to your right and state your name, your address, and any organization that you may represent, and you'll have 3 minutes. We don't have a buzzer like downtown at City Hall, but Ed will just come and gently tap your back if he. No. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Hardin. I'm Herb Tolliver. I'm the chairman of a committee which is working to develop a CID on East Main Street between Bexley and Whitehall. It's a stretch of about 1.3 miles along Main Street there that's kind of locked between these two cities. We are we've done a survey of property owners, and we've found that crime is one of the major concerns that they have. We have secured a UIRF grant from the city for new streetlights on Main Street, and also some landscaping. So we have been making some progress before a CID is organized. It's a community of really diverse businesses. There's about 57 small businesses, and they are many of them are very small. And of those, about 25%, about 25 of them are owned either by minorities, by women, or by immigrants. So it's the kind of business community that I think the city has a great deal of interest in maintaining and expanding. It also has some iconic, important businesses, such as the Top Steakhouse, which many people know about. It also has the only Jewish funeral home in the city of Columbus. Some good restaurants, some good auto repair places. So it has a variety, and also some dental offices. So the variety of important businesses to the community. We have also secured a grant from the Columbus Foundation and from the Eastmore Civic Association to develop the CID. We have hired an intern from the city, from the planning department at OSU. She would be here today, except she's on spring break. But she has just recently started to help with the development work. We do face some challenges. We've got about 75% of the property owners who also operate a business on Main Street are with us. But it's getting the absentee owners to participate is where that's the phase we're in now, and that's a little bit harder. The tax base is not very high on Main Street, and so we have to figure out some additional ways to get funding to take care of our services. I guess that's a hint. Okay, thank you.
You can go ahead and finish.
Bexley, I think, Bexley is interested in participating with us in some way. So we do seek improve the viability of this business district, and we just wanted to let you know that we're working on it,
Yeah.
and we hope to be up there one of these days to get a renewal.
I'm excited to hear about that. How long have you guys been working at it, just for other communities who might be looking to try this?
We've been working on it for about, well, over a year now.
Okay.
Well over a year. And we're a committee of just concerned citizens who want to see something happen.
Thank you. If we don't have any further speakers, that will conclude our hearing today. I want to certainly thank all of our speakers. I'm going to bring this legislation to the floor of council this Monday, March 14th. And recommend that my colleagues support these renewals. I'm confident that our CIDs will be renewed because of the value they bring to our community. Also, a quick committee note. Our next small and minority business development hearing will be on Thursday, March 31st at the Linden Branch Library at 2223 Cleveland Avenue. And the topic will be neighborhood commercial revitalization districts and what the city can do to promote small businesses in our many neighborhoods. Before we conclude, I would like to thank Cleve for all your work and his team at the Capital Crossroads and Discovery CIDs, Mr. Dave Wakeman, and everyone involved with Morse Road. Of course, Mark, for all you're doing in this neighborhood and community, and Betsy, for your leadership. It's amazing the investments that have come in this neighborhood. I think it's been because of the work of folks like you guys. And certainly the hardworking team at CTV who have recorded and will be rebroadcasting this hearing. Certainly want to thank my staff, Edward Johnson and Miss Linda Capobianco, for helping to pull this together, and the Convention Center for hosting us today. Thank you all for being here. That concludes our hearing.